It's Miss Armgart back with another instructional video. Today we are going to look at decimal division and we are going to look at the different types of decimals. So the first thing we're going to do is remind ourselves of the algorithm that is the method to divide decimals with whole numbers. So we have 2 and 97 thousandths divided by 30. We're going to bring the decimal point up above, and we're going to use those zeros for placeholders since 30 is bigger than 2. 30 is also bigger than 29, but 30 is not bigger than 297. 9 times 30 is 270. We're left with 27, so we need to add our 0 as a placeholder, and we know that 9 times 30 is 270. Our answer becomes 99 thousandths. 2 and 97 hundredths divided by 30 is 99 thousandths. So you can just do the division straight across. You can also use powers of 10. Use the powers of 10. So you will notice on the side here, 10 to the first is 10, 10 to the second, 10 to the third. This is what we are going to be using in order to change our divisor into a whole number. Our new problem is 4 and 48 hundredths divided by 3 and 2 tenths. So we're going to rewrite this as our proportion because we are going to multiply both by 10, because whatever you do to one, you must do to the other. So this becomes 44 and 8 tenths divided by 32. Now, we can set this up as a long division problem. Notice you can have a decimal in the dividend, but not in the divisor, okay? So anything that goes outside versus anything that goes inside. And now we carry on with division as usual. So we have 1, the subtraction will give you 12, you bring down the 8, and then 4 times 32 is 128. No remainders, no fractions, so this becomes 1.4. And your answer is 1.4. You can check in your calculator by putting the original example problem back into your calculator. You will get 1.4. All right, so now that we've gone over 2 different ways to do the division, there are 3 different kinds of decimals that you need to know. So the first example, 12 divided by 9, is a repeating decimal. So if you look down here, you will see that you continue to get 3 as your remainder. So even if we were to add another 0 for place value, that would still be 3 times 9 is 27. You would still get the same answer. That 3 will continue on. So when we write the answer, we can write this as 1 with a bar over the top to show that the 3 continues on, that it's 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3. Like that bar means it goes on forever. So that's our repeating decimal. Now in 12 divided by 8, you have a terminating decimal. That means no remainder. So if there is no remainder on there, like our 2 example problems, those are both terminating. They stop, like the Terminator stops things, stops bullets, all of that. To terminate means to end something. There's no remainder. Now, the last type is a little trickier because it is a forever non-terminating. That's kind of like pi. Pi is one of those numbers. It just keeps going. If you do the math, you can continue on in place value, but we don't have to. So for 6th grade math, I want you to do at least 3 place values. So I want you to do to the thousandths to see if it is a non-terminating decimal. So you'll notice up here, the repeating and the non-terminating are different because the non-terminating, you get different numbers. Again, kind of like pi versus the repeating where you're always going to get that same number. 12 divided by 9 is always going to be 3. Whatever place value you choose for the decimal, you're always going to have that 3. 12 divided by 7, you're going to get different numbers, but you could keep doing the division for hours. All right, so why can we move the decimal in a division problem? So here are 3 different problems. However, they all have the same numbers, they just have different place values. So in 18 divided by 3, you have the same number of those circles as 180 divided by 30 and 1.8 divided by 3. So each of those circles will represent a different power of 10. So in this example, 18 divided by 3, each of these is 1 because we have 18 and 3. The smallest is the ones place. So the 3 is the smallest. In the next problem, 180 divided by 30, well, it's the tens because 30 is the smallest number there, and so it goes to the tens place. And in 1.8 divided by zero point 0.3, that's the tenths after the decimal, the 3/10. Each one of those circles is a tenth. So they all show the same thing. It's just that the place value is different. So you're going to get different place value but the same numbers. So it's not like these are going to be 15, 25, and 80. They're all going to be some version of 6 because if we are regrouping these into groups of 3, you're going to get 6 groups of 3. You are going to get 60 groups of 30, and you are going to get 6/10 if you regroup them. So, no matter what you do, you're just moving the decimal. You're still going to get the same number. 6 is still going to be the answer. It's just what is the place value associated with your divisor and your dividend. All right, folks, we have reached the end of our notes. Don't forget to answer the questions on the formative. This is Miss Armgart saying happy solving.